And we're live. Okay. So, who wants to be a brave soul and jump in and fill in our resident druid, Cordy Safi, on what she missed last session?
Oh gosh, so much. The town alderman was going through the town drunkenly trying to conscript anyone and everyone in sight to the rebuilding effort, including a stately-looking elf who was traveling through Taurine. And we met a new friend, and I'll let them introduce themselves in the near future. But at the same time, there was the group at the town hall. It was completely burned out, except for the treated human skin that had a message written on it, which I believe you were here for, but it was said, if you want to see your papers again, come unarmed and bring presents to the tower. And Bref ended up knocking out the alderman because he kept drunkenly insisting on everything going his way. And then we made our... Well, I don't know. I forget exactly what happened next. I'll someone else fill in because our children are screaming constantly. And so I'm getting very distracted.
So after the alderman was knocked out, we asked around, figured out where the tower that they probably were going after was. Then we had to figure out where the tower was, and then when we figured it out, we laid siege to it, and we defeated them, but we burned. But half the books got, half like the papers and the books and stuff in there got burned, and then we came back to started sorting everything out to figure out what books and stuff were there, and then I'll let Paul or Leo describe what happened after that, because that wasn't much part of that.
I imagine you're all kind of spilling this to Cordy, who I decided that she went back to the blind bottle and decided to experiment with a little bit of a powder that she recently picked up, and was basically out of commission for the rest of that day and night. Having a good old time. Sorry?
I just said to clarify that means I apparently did drugs.
I mean, you got so many.
That's what I heard.
You didn't do drugs, you partook in naturally occurring substances.
I think you were communing with your patron or something.
In any case, so you are all kind of telling Cordy in various ways what occurred. You have you have several piles of burned papers and books that you have picked up from the Anne-Marie Bourdion Town Hall that were stolen by the imps, and they were burning them over in the ruined tower from the old empire. You are now sorting through these, and there was a kind of an interlude or a side story where the owner and proprietor of Amarl's Elephant, which turned out to be a jeweler, was very eager to look at the papers because he wanted to make sure that his insurance policy recorded at the town hall was still applicable, and was going to burn down Amarl's Elephant as though it was part of the attack, as though it had occurred as part of the attack, in order to save his family with the insurance money. But through a lot of negotiation and perseverance, the players, the party has convinced Marls to not to do that, and to maybe find some other way of saving his family's finances. And I think when we left off, you guys were just finishing up the sorting for the evening and had gone to some of the rooms in the Blind Bottle. I will say that in the course of this, besides lots and lots of, shall we say, relatively uninteresting records and files, you did find a record of Ramal Kapana's ownership of the Blind Bottle, but unfortunately it seems as though Krant's record of ownership was either destroyed in the fire or was lost long ago. However, you managed to negotiate with Ramal to allow Krant to kind of buy his way into the Blind Bottle. The three-fingered orc, half-orc, having nowhere else to go in this world after so long as a statue. So, all of that happened last time, and at this moment, you have found in amongst the papers an excerpt from, or a page from a play written by Eldan the Poet, or Eldan the Bard, according to some, who happens to be Bella's father. And this is just a piece of a book, or a playbook of the play. And that is in the chat that I wrote up. And some of you are heading to bed, some of you are examining a few more papers before doing so, having supped on the fine food and drink available in the Blind Bottle, even after the attack. So, as you are either making your way to bed or drinking of the tea and liquor that Krant and Ramal have tried to outdo each other in setting out, you guys can take it away.
Hey, Bella?
Yeah.
Isn't this your last name?
Yes.
Do you know this Eldon?
Yes.
I mean, I know not... Oh, you do. Well, I had this whole thing prepared but not everybody with the same last name. But never mind. So you do know this person?
Yes. That's... Eldon and Doral is my father. Yes.
And obviously, this person, your father, is a writer?
Well, I mean, yes.
And it looks like he's very good from what I can see here.
Yeah, most people like him. You haven't really heard of his stuff?
Well, I mean, no, but I'm probably not the best judge. Popular culture isn't really my expertise.
Right. Okay. Yeah, he's pretty great. He's pretty well known. I mean, he wrote most of his stuff back when the Fey Empire was still around, so it's pretty old now, but he there are some people who would probably call him the greatest Elvish poet who ever lived.
Oh, really?
It's an opinion that has been had.
I mean, probably a lot of daughters would say something similar about their father, but I get the impression that you're probably that this goes beyond just familial love.
No, I mean obviously I think he's a really great writer, but no, I mean before I was ever even born, like he's, you know, I've had to read his stuff in multiple classes at multiple universities that I've snuck into.
Mm-hmm.
So he's really he's pretty well known. This is one of his most popular plays.
What do you know about that? Because it's really, what I'm reading here is very interesting. Where did he get the idea for this? Do you know?
Oh, I mean, he gets most of his ideas from his travels. I know that he spent a lot more time in the Wildlands before I was born. We didn't spend a ton of time out here when I was younger, although, you know, some. But from what I understand, this is more of what, it was based on, like, a friend of his that he knew, like, in college.
Really?
I don't know. People say it's his greatest play, but I think that it's actually, well, if we want to get into it, I think that it's maybe errs a little bit on the side of, you know, being a little bit wordy. Like, you know, I prefer his comedies. Some people, it gets performed pretty frequently.
You like his older, funnier stuff?
Frankly, unperformable. Like, there are certain monologues in it, no matter how you say them, they just sound artificial. And they read really good on the page, but, like, nobody talks like that.
Well, it does have a sort of ring of, I don't know, the ancient, maybe. Something, you know, it does seem like there's some language here, some wording that's hasn't been used in a while.
Well, he did write it. I mean, from what I can remember, this play was written for a festival for the opening of a theater that was built by the last emperor. So it's over 200 years old at this point.
So it was for the opening of a theater that was commissioned by the last emperor. I
don't know if it was commissioned by him. I can't really remember, but
it was during his time.
Yeah, exactly. After the last emperor of the Vey Empire took the throne, before the Vey Empire collapsed, and everything that happened after that, a theater had been built. There was a lot of theater was really popular during those last few decades before the empire collapsed. And so some new theater went up and they commissioned plays from a whole bunch of well-known playwrights in the area, and it was written then, and that's where it was performed, and it's a play that he was very fond of, and it's a play that, you know, most people who are fans of his drama would say is probably his best one. But, you know, I guess that depends on what you mean by best play. I think it's the best read, but like I say, I just think it's a little bit clunky on the stage.
It's certainly a read. It's interesting. You said it was based on somebody that he knew in college? What a particular character, or just something that happened to him with this person in college?
Yeah, you know, it's a well-known, the plot's a little complicated. There's kind of a lot of moving parts. But essentially what happens in it is that, well, it's actually set in the Wildlands, not too far from here. He wrote a lot of stuff that was set in the Wildlands, but it's not like really in the Wildlands. It's just kind of using the Wildlands as like a shorthand for, you know, the chaos of humanoid existence, kind of. And so this guy goes to the Mountain of the Eternal Sun, which is not too far from here. I think it's about a week or a week and a half, something like that, away from here. People used to make pilgrimages to it, and this guy goes on a pilgrimage to the Mountain of the Eternal Sun, and gets caught up in the tragedy of his own hubris and something with like his, I don't know, there's some kind of like fight with his uncle, and then he dies. I mean, I can go more into it if you want to, but it's like a 4-hour long play.
Right. Interesting. Interesting.
I'm curious to get a look up at this point and hope you guys know. Wait, Bella, how, if you don't mind me asking, how old is he?
Well, he's an elf, so he's about 347. I think he's gonna be 348 this year.
Kira just gets this amazed look on her face, like, that's so old.
Brett's gonna have this amazed look on his face because I didn't know numbers could go that high.
I chime in with, I'm 350.
And Kira looks also wide-eyed, like, why?
Well, that's pretty old, but there are things that live a lot older.
Well, yeah, but normally you can't, like, touch them. And she reaches out and, like...
Emmy, we're having a hard time hearing you. I don't know if you can get closer to the mic or something.
Alright, so, Akira's just like, wow. But, like, you can't... Normally, things that are that old, you can't touch them. And she pokes Leah.
Samson.
Sorry. Those both work as good fantasy names.
I'm gonna need a roll to see if I'm familiar with the works of Eldon and Doral the poet.
Certainly.
His plays. And also, tell me if that's not how this works, but I feel like I should get advantage here because I'm an elf. It feels like something that I would be very familiar with and have read, likely.
True. Although, when we're talking about classical elvish literature, this play is extraordinarily young. Only 2 centuries or more old. Only about 2 centuries old, so, that would be recent. That would be recent popular reading. But, sure, you can have advantage. So make a history check.
Okay.
Okay. 22. So, you have not only read Confinement of the Light, but you have a pretty strong opinion that it is not Eldon the poet's greatest work, but his poetry. And that although the play is a very fine play, and there are a number of fine plays in his oeuvre, his poetry is the true masterpiece. And let's see. The plot points that Bella has mentioned, while true, are really not what the play. Those are just things around the play. The deeper meaning is what people is an examination of human nature and the relationship to powers greater than mortals. I say human beings, I mean humanoids, mortals, and mortal nature, and their relationship to the ineffable.
How about what she said about when it was written, it was commissioned by the Emperor for the new theater? Do I know anything about the history of that?
You remember that happening. And yes, it was actually commissioned for the new theater. With a 22, you would actually know that while Louis VII, who was the last emperor of the Vei Empire, took credit for being Eldan the poet's patron. Eldan was a fiercely independent writer, and Confinement of the Light and his other works were written of his own volition, but afterward it was kind of, you could credit some of the popularity of Confinement of the Light to Louis VII, who was a very decadent patron of the arts, lover of the arts. You can credit some of that to him kind of spreading that around.
All right, I'm gonna rudely interrupt their conversation and chime in with Bella. I think that you're missing the point of your father's work. The plot points you're describing are mere frivolous details on the surface level of that play. I mean, the play, let's be honest, is more entertainment than insightful reading. But he's trying to make points about the struggle of power between humanoid kind and powers greater than they can understand. And as his daughter, I feel like you should really know that his poetry is his greatest work.
Hey, Samson, so are you saying that things like the coming of the gloom and the shadow and the strength of man, these were all fictions that he made up?
Oh no, doom is coming.
But these specific things that he mentioned, the gloom, the shadow.
Well, we can't know by what means the doom will come. It could be gloom and shadow. It's hard to say. Those are ominous things. But yeah, I mean, the world will end soon unless we take action.
I feel like this is a bigger conversation.
Yeah, care to explain how the world's gonna end?
It's a pretty big conversation because I know for a fact that the gloom and the shadow are real things out there.
Krant, who is coming by with a tray, overhears this. He's collecting some of the empty cups and bringing a last couple thimblefuls of whiskey to send you guys off to bed. And he looks alarmed over and he says,
"This is not good talk. Grant does not like the sound of these words."
Yes,
no.
You shouldn't.
Gary's like, yeah, I agree with Krant on this one, guys. Like, I know we're kind of looking at the end of the world over here, but that's very ominous.
Grant takes cinnamon.
he puts a bunch of cinnamon in one of the thimblefuls of whiskey and pushes that across the table carefully between the papers that you have piled up toward Equitus.
Drink.
Thank you, Krant.
He
I'll drink it.
continues to spread them out and
Can't say no, stay up too late.
Akiri passes hers to Brev.
Dormez.
Much appreciated.
Quick clarification question. 2, actually. 1, am I there? 2, am I sober?
Yeah, Cordy, you have, remember at the start of the session, I said that everyone was kind of filling you in. So you, the good time you were having up in your room eventually faded to a kind of a low mumble in the background. So you have come out of it. You took a very small dose. You know how strong this stuff can be. You've been out of commission till now, but you are now down, and I guess you can decide whether you are going to partake of the whiskey at this point or just some more of the jasmine tea that's been passed around.
Good deal. We'll see what happens.
Akiri absolutely goes for
She goes for the what?
the tea.
Okay. The scent mixes nicely with the many wreaths, flowery wreaths and other symbols of Mariko that line the walls of the Blind Bottle's main room.
Thank you, Krant.
Bed. Bed.
Yeah.
Somebody's trying to talk, but it's not coming through.
Again.
I think it might be Haley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. Well, now
It's so clear.
Yeah, because it's right next to my mouth. I'll let you go.
No, please go ahead.
Okay. Aquitas, you said you know what the gloom and the shadow are? For a fact?
Yeah, as well as I know anything, really. I've only heard of the gloom, but I have no reason to think that the gloom isn't just as real as the shadow is, and I know the shadow is real. You know how when we fight things and you know those crazy bolts that I can make come out of my hands, and kind of the crazy weird things that I can do sometimes.
Yeah.
That comes from the shadow.
So it's like something benevolent.
No, it's the opposite. It's not benevolent at all.
Is it your patron?
So you're evil.
I don't. You know.
Akiri's gonna like put her cup down with like eyes wide, just like, oh, you're a warlock, aren't you? And look at you like big grin, like super excited.
The shadow is what I would probably, and anyone that had any kind of a sense of morality would call evil. Yeah. You're going to have to decide whether you think I am or not.
Well, you use its power.
That's not untrue.
Are you
I do.
spreading it, the shadow?
No, as a matter of fact, I want to. I don't know that anyone can get rid of the shadow, but I believe that the shadow has some plans that that need to not come to fruition, and those plans. The more and more coincidences are happening that are bringing up things that have to do with the shadow, and this is not good at all. I mean, we're talking the end of everything.
Well, I mean, we've all been talking about the end of everything. Like, I mean, watch the skies. Prim's run in with who are they again? I don't remember.
They're called the Netheros. And
Netheros.
They're killers, basically.
I think all of this, it can't be a coincidence.
No way. Definitely not. Ooh, which reminds me, guys. So, the Chimera that we're going after. No, Chimera? The thing that we're fighting for, Stray. The Sword Wings are kind of in that area. Maybe we should tell them about the whole, like, you know,
Chimera.
Chimera. It was a chimera. Okay, cool. I was hoping maybe we should tell them about that because they're not supposed to like the whole elemental thing's going down because they're not supposed because they don't know about it, and there's this big old meeting that they're having in Zurich, like in Zurich's month. So we should go tell them about that because it might be too late.
The sword wings, you said?
Yeah, those guys.
What are sword wings?
Okay, so they're these really cool guys. It's like this. I don't know. It's not like an army, but it's more like a group of knights, and they're all Aarakocras, and they're birds, and it's cool, and I love them. And they're just really cool. I like them. I want to go join up with them.
So they're Aarakocra knights.
Yeah, they're really
And
cool.
they're getting together for something?
Yeah, because like remember when I told you about how we're supposed to watch the skies?
Right.
Apparently the elders and mediums have been talking about it. And
Alright.
yeah. And they called a meeting for it and to go like see what we can be done about it. But they don't know about everything else that's going on. And if the Nephiros are going to attack the Standing Stones, it might be helpful to have backup.
No, for sure. I think that's a good idea. Be very interested what the nature of the thing that they're fighting. What are we supposed to be watching the skies for?
I don't know. Nobody knows.
Right.
Yeah, it's just weird. And it's kind of scary, honestly.
No, I agree.
We're birds. We're in the sky. That's where we live.
Yeah, no, when a bird tells me to watch the sky, I pay attention. That's sort of their territory. I agree.
Okay, so you explained what the shadow is, but what's the gloom?
Okay. The shadow has... okay. So you know... There are these 6... kind of darker, if you will, gods. In fact, they call themselves the Dark Six. The Shadow is one of them, and the Gloom is one of them also. And there's the Nightfall, and there's the Obscure, and there's the Dusk, and there's the Murk.
What do you mean by the word dark?
Well, I think you could probably take that in just about every way that you would want to interpret the way dark that word dark.
Do you mean it in the traditional way that people of this land seem to refer to it as evil?
That would be I have not ever seen them. Anything that I've had to do with any of the Dark Six has always been evil. I mean, they're not giving out presents to the disabled.
Well, that would be incorrect. The Gloom is not an evil entity.
Is that right? You know the Gloom.
Oh yes, my people are very well acquainted with the Gloom. It blesses.
Well, as I said, really the only one that I know for sure is the Shadow. I've only heard of the other 5. I know that they're called the Dark Six, and everything else I just put 2 and 2 together. And if you say the Gloom is not bad, you haven't given me any reason to think that you would lie or that you're evil. So that's fine with me. For now.
You have strange
Breath is
customs.
passed out on the table at this point. Oh, this is way above his head, and he's just like, after trying to follow it.
The mighty barbarian snores, shake the papers on the table.
You have strange opinions about what is good and what is evil in this land.
I kind of like to judge it as it happens. I think that good and evil only show themselves in actions.
I think it is interesting that everyone that I've met since I've traveled far away is so worried about death and darkness and decay, when these are simply natural things that happen. So they are not good or evil, they simply are.
I can understand that point of view. It's when this, the death happens to people without their consent that's when it bothers me.
Kiri's playing with like the couple of the papers, and she's like, I think the reason people don't really like death is because it's an ending. People don't like saying goodbyes or endings. Not that it's unnatural or anything, it's just an end. People don't like those.
I don't understand this concept of an end.
Cordy, what do you think of justice?
Of justice?
Yes.
I think the world follows a natural order and thus corrects itself accordingly.
I agree, but I think that we're all part of nature, and I think that sometimes us acting, that's nature acting through us.
Well, yes, that's why we must strive to become one with nature, so that nature can truly use us to its.
It's an interesting philosophy.
Do you think...
But
Sorry.
no, please go ahead.
Do you think it was okay that I saw my entire family murdered by nature, by people who serve nature, I assume? Is that not evil to you?
Nature is wild and unpredictable. I cannot speak for it. That would be arrogant.
It's not unpredictable when you have people behind it wielding power over other people. That's the opposite of unpredictable.
But then nature will come and correct itself in due time. And you
Yeah,
must
well.
trust the process.
Well, I'm
Sometimes
coming to
nature is
correct
too
it.
slow.
I am going to correct what happened so that no one else has to experience this power of nature.
And that
I'm with
is
you,
your
Cram.
choice.
Thanks, Hellboy.
My tail kind of twitches.
And Kiri puts her hand on his shoulder like, hey, chill out.
So, okay. Who wants to do something? And because the second question, if we all decide to do something, is what do we want to do?
It's currently night right now.
All right, but it's going to be... Well, oh, is it? What time is it?
It's getting late. there is no town crier left alive to call the time, but from the darkness outside and the position of the moon and stars that you can see through the clouds of smoke still rising from the burned town, you would say it is around 10 or 11 o'clock. And some of you still have levels of exhaustion from your run through the desert.
Okay. Do we want to... I know we need to sleep, obviously, and we're about to. But do we need a plan? I think nobody else knows about some of this stuff. Nobody else knows about all of this stuff.
Here's gonna put her hands on the table. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. I say we go to it first of all, and then travel in the morning, because I'm getting real sleepy here. But
Yeah.
I say we go to figure out what we need to figure out, and then either head to the Sword Wings or pick up the Chimera.
Here's what I think we need to do. Didn't we decide that Arkney is on the way to the Chimera?
It's also on the way to the Sword Wings. So,
Oh, okay.
And if we're going to be you say that nobody has all of this information, but Arkney is one of the biggest and most prestigious libraries in this region.
True.
It probably has more information than we have all sitting here at this table being drunk and sleepy.
Right. I just mean no people have all this information in one place. Anyway, yes, I think we need to go to Arkney and Swordwings and the Chimera in that direction and stop at whichever one is first.
We must get to Arkney to talk to some great scholars there who know a lot about the coming end of the world. But I also feel that we should agree upon what role we are to play in that doom. I, for one, believe that we have to stop it. I mean, obviously none of you have ever read the works of the great philosopher Nathar, who argues that the natural order starts with life and ends with death, and it is not our duty to intervene. But this was greatly disputed by scholars over the years, the most notable of which was Blacksar the Wise, who said that as a part of nature, it is indeed our duty to intervene and exert our will upon it. On the other hand, Badaster Booterax said that the natural order is all a crock of nonsense, and we're allowed to do whatever it is we wish, whenever we wish. There's no such thing as consequence. Nobody's quite sure what to make of that in the writings, to be honest. Not that anybody asked me, but I favor Blackstar the Wise. It's part of our duty to intervene and stop the doom from coming to the world.
Okay.
About 5 words.
And all of a sudden I don't feel bad about missing Shul and Shavuot anymore.
So,
But
as
we
as-
absolutely have to visit Proudmont's house.
okay, okay. But as verbose and crazy as that was, Samson has a point. I think we do need to go to Arkney and get some and find out what we're up against. I think Bella made the same point first, actually.
If we do nothing, we'll all
I
die.
agree. But we have to investigate Proudheart House. There's too much potential information there about costs and maybe his potential air powers.
Right. And I am going to do everything I can to stop the plans of the Shadow. No matter what. That's what I'm around for.
Akira's gonna look very surprised because she hadn't thought of that before when Krim said Lucas and his air power. She hadn't quite put 2 and 2 together yet, and she. Oh.
So, let's sleep and then head. What is that? Northeast?
It's like northeast, north, something. It's like a day's travel away or so.
Yeah. All right.
Probably 2 days.
All right then. Let's go
To sleep.
to sleep.
To sleep.
All right. You guys finally wend your way toward slumber, resting your beds. You're going to be able to sleep through the night. I will advance the current day on our wild calendar as we cross the midnight barrier, and it is now the 26th of Jaksu, the first month. Overnight, Mavra,
Yes.
what have you done with that compass you picked up in the ruins of the town hall? Is it just in a pocket?
Yes.
All right. Mavra, you are awakened in the middle of the night by a kind of clicking sound. You pat yourself down and realize it's coming from the pocket of your the leather jerkin you wear under your armor, which you have hung over the back of a chair. You shiver, realizing, without quite remembering your dream, that you were looking at something pink and horrible. But it's a vague sense, fading quickly in the face of this clicking. Is anyone rooming with Mavra? Would you like to roll it randomly?
I'm pretty sure I was rooming with Krim.
Mm-hmm.
Room with. I'll room with her. Sure, why not?
Okay. You too hear this clicking sound.
Mavra, what is that? She's like coming sleepily, like rubbing her eyes.
I walk over to my jerkin and pull out the compass.
You pull out the compass. It has seemingly come to rest after, you remember, the arrow was spinning round and round, coming to rest, but never really pointing toward north. Here in the middle of the night, the spinning arrow has finally come to rest, but and is tapping itself against the bottom of the compass.
That's really creepy.
Does the compass open?
Does it open? You mean like the lid? There's a glass lid over it. It doesn't really open.
Oh, okay.
What do you think it's trying to do, Mavra?
What is it? What is it stopped on?
Well, you would have to guess, wouldn't you? Because unless you pull out a different compass to compare it to. But it's definitely not north. Orienting yourself, it seems to be southwest-ish.
I'm not really sure.
That's really weird.
Please right-click the card and collect it. We can't hear you if you're trying to speak to us.
Oh no.
Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to do? Or go back to bed?
We should tell everybody about this in the morning. Maybe they can help us figure it out.
That sounds good.
I feel like Samson is probably going to be our most helpful help person. I'm really sleepy, and she goes back.
All right. You all slumber through the night. Remove one level of exhaustion, heal to full. Refresh your hit dice, and gain one charge on any items with charges. Also, as we awaken the next day, this 26th of Jeksu, I have cards for all the rest of the magic items that I had been meaning to get around to. So, please right-click your card and collect it. If you right-click it, Leo, it should put it in your hand. Ah, that reminds me. Mavra, I have another question for you.
Yes.
Have you bought anything since the potion when last time you were in Taurine?
I don't think so. I thought I remember helping contribute to something, but other than that, I don't remember.
Did you actually, you were going to give some coin to your friend Bella, who was helping some of the poor folk in the town. But I don't know if you ever actually did that.
Yeah, I don't think I did. I don't
so.
think there was a conclusion on how much and all that.
All right.
Well, I only wound up actually giving money to one person because then we found the ransom note and we kind of got derailed.
Yes, I think that's right. Okay. I think Equitas is carrying the hand mirror and the helmet. No, somebody else has the helmet, perhaps?
I didn't think I had... Well, I have a helmet on my sheet, so I suppose that's the helmet of head expansion. But I think somebody else had the mirror.
All right.
I'll take it if nobody claims it, but I thought somebody else had it.
Somebody has it on their character sheet.
Wasn't that the mirror from the dragon sword?
I think so, and it's not on my character sheet.
What did you get from there? I don't remember. Oh yeah, the acid ring. That's right.
Okay.
I mean, somebody take it.
I'll take it then. I mean, I am pretty sure I didn't have it originally, but I'll take it.
Do it.
It's on
I
somebody's
seem to
character
remember
sheet.
us finding it and not knowing what it does.
Oh, that one. Okay, no, I remember that one now. It wasn't actually from the Dragon Horde, was it? Was it from the dungeon?
I can't remember. No, it was from the dungeon. It was from the dungeon. It was somewhere. It was from the dungeon.
It's one of the last things we found.
Yeah.
Should we head out, guys?
Well, I think we needed to stop by and see the Proud Heart house. Take a look around in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's look at the Proud Heart house before we
There's
go.
talk of the money from the coffers and
Yeah.
sorting out some legality as well before we left.
And
Yeah.
I'm wearing my crown.
Very well. So, you awaken to a lovely pair of competing breakfasts from the elf and the half-orc. Aramal Kapana says, so, you folks are off today, or do you not know your plans as of yet?
I think we're just doing a couple of housekeeping things, and then we're gonna go.
Yeah, we may be gone for a while. Hold down the fort. Make sure that
Of
the
course.
town gets put out. That the
Now-
fires get put out.
Of course, since you've your group has saved the blind bottle and our town, of course, your rooms and food and drink are all free. But a handful of coin would go nicely toward paying for certain others. I don't mean to be insistent about it, but we would like to keep the place running.
I'm gonna throw him. I don't have a whole lot, but I'll throw him 5 silver.
He accepts it.
And I mean and I know that's not a lot, but that's what I have.
Akiri will pass over 2 gold as well.
He likes
I'll
that
match
better.
I'll match that and give 2 gold.
Okay.
And I can give 3 gold. I have a lot.
That's what you get when your daddy's rich.
I didn't say that.
I can give some gold too.
Oh, but didn't you?
Yeah, well,
I said
well,
famous.
Uh-huh. So
Well, he's
are
a
you saying
famous
that
poet.
he's not rich? Are you saying he's not rich?
Didn't I also say that I was functionally homeless for most of my childhood?
Oh, that doesn't mean Daddy's not rich.
It just means you'd never stayed in the same place for long.
All right. Well, I have the exact amount of money that everybody else has, except I seem to have spent less of it. So, you know.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. We're not going to talk about money.
Says the group about to go, see what's going on with the coffers and stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll talk about that money. All right. Let's go to Proud Heart House. Yeah.
When you say that, a pain starts in the palm of your hand and rises up your forearm. You feel a force tugging just under your skin, like a hook embedded in your flesh, pulling you northeast.
And I kind of stop and I kind of grip my hand, hold my hand, and guys, there might be something else we need to talk about. So remember that crazy symbol a few days ago, like a week ago?
Oh yeah, you touched it and it just disappeared forever.
Uh-huh. It didn't, and I show him my hand. It didn't really disappear.
Go on.
So yeah, it's been here, and on my
On his
palm,
hand, there is that strange marking. Shimmering blue.
Could I roll to see if I know what it is?
I think he showed it to you before.
No, he
the
wouldn't tell me.
street. Oh, he was just talking about the Gesh.
Yeah, I was a little too rude to get the information from him.
Okay, make an Arcana check. As Equitus, the tiefling, holds up his hand, his red skin is marked by this strange black shimmering blue mark. This
Didn't you look at
sigil.
what was that, Kiri?
I said, didn't Samson look at that last week though? I distinctly remember him like.
I think
being
he might have seen that there was. I can't remember. Did he? I can't remember exactly what happened, but something happened with it.
Either way, he sees it now.
All right. So ever since I touched it and it came on my hand, I have had this feeling, this compulsion. There's a man that needs to die.
A face flashes in your mind. And the name.
His name is Fitzywell. I think he's a merchant. He's an elf or a half elf. I think he's blind. He doesn't. I mean, he looks like a normal guy. But I
Yeah.
need to kill him.
Isn't he like a philanthropist or something? Philanthropist? She's struggling with the word.
I've heard that he gives money to causes. But that's all I know. I've never met him. I don't know him. I just know I need to kill him.
He needs to die, and you cannot retreat from any combat until that has been accomplished. By the way, Fitzywell is also the name of the artist who created that face.
Oh.
Might any of us know who he is or have heard of him before?
Wow. Maybe. Make an intelligence check.
Does that go for all of us?
No. One person has asked.
Can I make an intelligence check?
Sure.
Same.
Yeah, I want to make one too. Or rather, I already have one.
If you guys want to kind of talk about it, and discuss, then I'll let you use the best results from all of you.
Oh, sweet.
So like I said, I don't know who he is.
And
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just explaining my house rule here real quick. Just 1 second. And there's also an assist. If you get a good roll but you're not the highest, you can assist and add a bonus on top of the highest roll. Okay. So in this case, Bella will. Oh my gosh! And there's a natural 20. Do we have a theme song for Cordy? No. Natural 20. Okay.
Mushroom.
Randomly, Cordy, in your journey from the fungal forest in the north that ended up taking you to Taurine, you actually did hear of this guy. You might have even seen him. You know, Cordy, that he is kind of an advocate for the rights of the blind. He's a successful merchant, and he kind of has a something of a little philanthropic foundation, where he supports those who are blind with the money he has saved up. He's an aged elf, and he sells spices and teas, and he is pretty well liked in Arkney.
Of course he is.
From which his foundation kind of helps people, and he kind of has like a group of various merchants who all pay into this foundation that he runs.
All right, so I will relay that.
Carrie's looking mildly alarmed. Ekotas, are you actually going to kill him?
He needs to die. That's all I know.
But why?
That I don't know.
Okay, so I like you. But I feel like we just need to sort of recap the last 24 hours. You get all of your powers from some kind of evil spirit. You want to randomly kill an old blind philanthropist. And you don't know why, but you're gonna do it anyway.
Well, that's because the thing on his hand, though. That wasn't.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know what this thing is or what exactly. I mean, it could have activated something inside of him. You know, like I'm just saying, there are some concerning things happening in your life, my friend.
I mean, sometimes I feel like I really have to do something, and then I just don't. Have you tried just not killing him?
This is solid advice.
The Gash is powerful magic. It has the ability to change one's conscious state, not just prompt actions. Is that true, Max, by the way?
No.
Never mind. Sorry. I thought that was true.
But your character might say that. I guess as those words leave your lips, you would be like, oh, wait, no, it doesn't actually change their minds. It just kind of forces them to act in accordance with a certain instruction or face consequences.
I correct myself in that way.
Paul, did we lose you? Oh no. We lost Paul at the most dramatic moment.
He's off to kill the elf.
Paul! This is the worst possible moment for him to lose connection. Alright. I'm going to roll a will save for Paul's character, and we're going to see if he dies.
Right next to him, so she's ready. She's so ready.
Oh no, this is terrible. This is terrible. Paul! Come back. Okay. Man. He was really the focus of this conversation. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to make a call here. Yeah, he's now disappeared from Roll20.
What?
Typing on Discord.
He's typing.
He must have lost to power or something.
His internet went out. Oh no. Okay. Okay, while Paul's trying to come back up. Okay. I am okay, I'm gonna make a rule for Paul's character, a ruling for Paul's character, and if he's mad about it, that's okay. Sorry, Paul. Okay. So, you're all talking to Paul's character, to the tiefling warlock who's just admitted to the shadow, the gloom, the dark six, and wanting to or needing to murder this particular character. Okay, if he pops back in, I'll let him roll instead. Actually, he might not even get a roll. Well, I rolled to see what would happen, to see what he would do, but I don't really know. I don't really know Paul's character well enough to actually decide that. All right. So here's what happens. The tiefling, Aquitus, when Bref says to him, "Have you tried not doing that?" Or something to that effect. Aquitus looks at him, and then head, table. He just falls unconscious.
Akiri rushes forward and save the dying on him.
His hand is spasming, curling back and forth in pain.
I'm a healer who can't do anything for this.
Okay, you cast Spare the Dying.
Yeah, I'm not high enough level for anything that's big enough to cut out.
Does that have any role associated with it? Could you make it appear in chat, please, by clicking on it?
It's just touch. That was the wrong one. I'm sorry, guys. There we go.
Okay. His spasming hand stills in response to your magic, and you sense that Spare the Dying has saved his life.
She's just like, ah! And, ouch.
So, Aquitus is lying face down on the table, having just smacked it with his forehead. His hand is no longer spasming in pain, but he is still unconscious.
In response to the hand stopping to spasm, I say to Kiri, "Hey, nice, you killed him."
She's going to give you the biggest glare ever, and then then she's going to do a level 2 cure wounds.
Okay. While all of this is going on,
For heaven's sake.
and while he is recovering, what are the rest of you doing?
Freaking the hell out. If I'd known that was going to happen, I wouldn't have tried to give advice.
I freaked out and rushed up to him, but I have no healing power, so I was pretty much just like, Akiri, do something.
I reached for my potion.
Quietly
Cordy's...
observing.
Sorry. Go.
Sorry, what was
Can
that?
you hear me?
Oh, I hear you.
Oh, okay. I should be coming back. Hang on, let me refresh roll 20.
Okay.
Well, you almost died.
Don't tell me that.
I will
It's
explain what
actually
happened.
true.
Crap.
Dude,
All
you're
right.
very lucky, Kiri likes.
Thank you. What happened? Well,
Okay, so I don't know, were you here when Bref said to you, "Have you tried not doing that?"
no.
Okay. So basically there's this whole conversation, everybody's talking to Aquitus, who just revealed so much about what's been going on in secret behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And at one point, Bref turns to you and said that, or was that what you said, Jeremy? Anyway, so you were gone. So I don't know for sure what Aquitus would do in this circumstance, but I'm gonna roll for it. I'm gonna roll an intelligence check for you. Rolled a natural 1.
Great.
So I actually basically Aquitus tried to be like, to decide, you know what, I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna murder that guy. And immediately the pain just increased, that was so unbearable before, just increased 100-fold and shot through your entire body. And in that instant, your head hits the desk, hits the table.
Oh, shit.
And you fell unconscious, taking 24 points of damage.
Oh, no.
Everyone's freaking out. Akiri rushes forward, casts Spare the Dying. Spare the Dying stabilizes you so you don't have to start making death saving throws. And meanwhile, your hand is spasming while you're unconscious. But then Spare the Dying was cast, your hand stops spasming. And then I think Krim also rushed forward but didn't know what to do. Then Akiri cast Cure Wounds, touching you on the shoulder, and healed you 11 points, bringing you back to consciousness. And you wake up, and everyone's staring at you with white faces.
You were saying, Bref?
Well, let's not
No.
do that again. Tell you what.
So
let's go kill this elf.
I'm at 11 now, is that right?
14, because it was a level 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Good thing I just woke up. Well,
Okay.
so it's not a good idea for me not to. Just gonna say it. Kill this guy.
Unless we can
Might
figure
have.
out how to get rid of the
Do you want to kill this
pattern
guy?
man.
I said I don't want to, but I need to. I know that it's because of this thing. I know it. I've heard of other spells that can compel people to do things. It's got to be something like that.
Well, we'll figure out a way so that you don't have to do this.
Well, I mean, it sounds like a guy. I mean, it sounds like a pretty nice guy. Although, you never know. Somebody wants him dead, obviously. But it's none of my business.
Leo, are you still there?
Yep.
Did you hear what Mavra said?
Which thing? I'm not sure who everybody is just yet.
Mavra is played by Danielle. She is a female dwarf fighter. You cut out.
Remind me, sorry, what did you say?
She said, unless you can remove that pattern from your hand. That triggers a memory in you. Something clicks. We've had you make multiple knowledge checks. Well, you had a successful one on Gesh, just not on the pattern on his hand. And then you make the connection, or rather, the lack of connection. Gesh doesn't work like that. It doesn't lie around and stick to people. Normally it would be rather difficult to remove. You would have to have some kind of dispelling power, magic. But you have no idea what's going on here with this shimmering rune.
Shimmering rune? Oh, rune. Okay.
R-U-N-E, that
Yeah, I got it.
Maven just mentioned.
Got it. Yes, got it.
A
Okay.
sigil.
I chime in with you don't really get Gesh from just like touching a rune. It doesn't. And then I convey. I don't know. I convey what Max just said.
Oh, it was on mute. Well, I mean, maybe. I just know that it was right after I touched this thing out in the middle of the forest. And then it transferred. This pattern was on the rock. Touched it. The pattern transferred to my hand. And I needed to kill Bituel.
Yeah, I mean, does it really matter exactly what type of spell it is at this point?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it might matter insofar as that could tell us how to get rid of it.
Sure, but I mean, regardless of whether or not Gesh works that way, we know that this works that way.
True.
It's not unheard of for people to invent new types of magic all the time. Maybe this is some special rune that was invented by some crazy wizard who hates blind people.
Crazier things have happened.
Would Carrie have any idea what a gash is? Just because it's kind of in her wheelhouse.
Make an Arcana check.
It's an 18.
Yes, actually. She knows that powerful clerics or other spellcasters sometimes will lay these on a sinner, some creature that, and force them to atone for their past misdeeds.
Okay, she's gonna go, but it doesn't normally work like that, though. Like it's kind of it's almost like a holy spell.
Right.
Like making people atone for sins and stuff, which just made it so much creepier. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't think this is to atone for a sin. I think this is to commit one.
But maybe killing him is atoning for something.
Who knows? Maybe this Fitchwell is not a good person.
That's what I've been wondering. Like, sure, he sounds great and wonderful and all, but what if he's just really, really terrible?
To be honest with you, I don't want to know. If it weren't for this, I wouldn't need to kill him. This is the only thing making me need to kill him. And if there is another reason, I don't really want to know it. Unless he does something to me.
Well, I mean, that's it. I mean, if you dedicate your life to going around and finding out a reason why every single person should be killed, you know, I mean, lots of people have done lots of things, and lots of people might want them dead, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's your job or that it's the right thing to do.
Exactly.
Rationalizing sin is a classic mistake laid out in the literature.
Dude.
Right, I mean, you have to rationalize the sin.
Just FYI, Akira, you also know that while a normal Gesh lasts for 30 days, a very powerful spellcaster, should they choose to cast it, a more powerful version, it can last for a year and a day.
Is that all?
Akiri relays that information.
Well, we already know that this Gesh has been altered somehow, so I would assume it's probably not out of the realm of possibility for the duration to have been altered also. So it's probably good to assume that I'm probably in it for the long haul. Alright, so we're gonna go to Argny or what?
I guess we definitely are now.
Alright.
I mean, if you consciously can't stop yourself from committing this deed, or you die, maybe you can just be restrained if you want to, but you're like tied up somewhere. Then you still can't do it. So what if we just keep you like in a trunk or something when we get to Arcney, and we'll just keep you in there until we kind of sort this out, and we'll figure it out from there.
You're not gonna put me in a trunk. Listen, the reason why I don't want to know if this guy needs to die or not is because I would rather die than kill an innocent person. So, I mean, I don't care if it kills me. I'm not gonna kill this guy.
Does anyone know who Grotum Goldhair?
Maver says over the
What?
breakfast table.
Can I roll to know who it is?
Sure.
I do not.
Make an intelligence check, and you can add your history.
Wait, so then should I just click on history?
Yeah.
$19.
All
I got a
right.
19 and a natural 20, but unfortunately I had advantage.
That's actually a 24, not a 19.
Yeah.
Look at the chat. Look at the chat, not the...
Yeah, I was saying I rolled a
3DS.
19 and a 20 of the 2 dice that I rolled.
You have heard of Hugrotum Goldhair. Somewhat surprisingly. To me, anyway. He is a dwarf. Who is a powerful cleric. And a powerful and well-known cleric of Owlf. And he has dedicated his career to curing some horrible diseases, particularly those spread by fiends, like the ones that apparently attacked Taurine.
I relay that and say, maybe he can cure you.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, I'm up for anything.
From what I understand, he's in the opposite direction we were planning to go, though.
Oh.
That's problematic. For Equitas, at least.
Maybe he could be persuaded to come to us.
Okay, I'm listening. What do you have in mind? Do you want to kidnap him?
What the fuck? No. You're gonna have to put a little bit more effort than this into convincing us that you're not evil, my man.
Okay, so we're not gonna kidnap him. Alright.
Well,
I was just thinking maybe we could appeal to him as a scholar and say, we have a very unusual curse that's been laid on somebody. And if we paid your travel expenses, would you be willing to come and take a look and see if there's anything you could do for him? And in exchange, publish some new magical research, maybe discover some kind of a new curse. These are the kinds of things that academics like that can be persuaded with.
Well, that's a great idea. I don't have any money for that. So...
None of us do, but we'll figure it out. It takes a few days for a letter to get someplace.
I have money.
hey, where is this guy? Where does this guy live, by the way?
I don't know exactly. 6 days southeast of Taurine. That's all I know.
That's a while. Ooh. To be honest with you, I don't know if I would make it that far in the opposite direction.
Oh, and something about town of 1,000 steeples. Does anybody know that?
Can a Curie check?
Certainly.
Cool. What would that be?
Intelligence.
I'll, can I roll for that too? I'd like to see if... Is that religion or history?
And if you have proficiency with maps.
Intelligence?
Yep, make an intelligence check. You're asking about the town of 1,000 steeples?
Oh, you don't need my
Natural
help.
20 just goes.
Second natural 20 and a natural 1 in the same roll, but we don't count that one. Wow. Okay, you know that the town of 1,000 steeples is Belgrove, and it lies to the southeast across the Bridge of Glass. And it is chock-a-block with churches, temples to every one of the cycle pantheon, and many other gods besides. It's a very kind of famous for its old architecture from every god that was popular at every point in history.
Okay.
Is there a hipster church who claims to be into the old gods before they were cool?
Yes. That would be the Church of the Cool Hat.
The what now?
The Church of the Rakish Fedora. The Jaunty Angle.
I like Kate Spaz. So I relay all that information to everyone else.
Well, that sounds like a place that might have a lot of information for different religious and culty kind of things. So that might be a place that we may end up needing to go to before all is said and done.
So based on the reaction you had to my suggestion earlier, the idea of going southeast doesn't sound healthy for you.
No, I think we need to go to Arkney.
But Mavra, you said you had money? Maybe you could send a letter, a message of some kind to
that might be a good idea. That might be a good idea. Say if he could meet us in Arkney, or I don't know, whatever he would want to do.
How far away is Spellgrove again? Sorry.
Somebody said 6 days to the southeast.
I think it's 1816.
If the letters get there in 6 days, it'll take him at least 6 more days travel. That's gonna be
correct.
Waiting.
We could just tell him. I mean, what would we tell him?
I just don't think it's feasible in the time that we have.
I think that is a good idea to have. That is an extremely good plan B.
What if we try to convince him to go to Arkney instead of to Toreen? Nobody cares about Toreen, but there's a lot of scholars in Arkney, and maybe he would be interested in Arkney as a place for research and study.
That means we're going to be waiting around in Arkney for him for at least 6 days.
Well, there's a library there. We can pass time.
We went there. We were planning to go there and do some research anyway, and all we have to do is keep you away from Mr. Fitzywell, and we'll just maybe we'll try to. I'll take Mr. Fitzywell on a long walk. We'll walk away from you for 3 days, and then by the time we get back, you'll have been cured.
Instead of putting me in a trunk, why don't you put Fitzywell in a trunk?
Sounds perfect. He's blind. He's not gonna.
And then weigh it down and throw it in the lake.
We're trying not to kill him.
You know, I thought it was.
All right, so let's go to Arkney. Well, send a letter to what was this person's name again?
To Grotum Goldhair?
Right. Send a letter to Grotum. Or, if you want me to write it, I will. Whatever we do.
I would be happy to write it. I have a way with people.
Yeah, I think Samson ought to write it. All right. But I want, final cut on it.
Sure, I can apply to his academic nature. Appeal, I mean.
Yeah. You're gonna tell him to come look at the freak, aren't you?
Well, demons
We're
are
not
so
going to use
interesting.
those words.
Alright, that's fine. As long as it gets fixed. and then we'll go to Arkney and maybe other places as we wait for him to show up. Is that the plan?
Pretty much.
All right, then. Hi-ho Silver.
If we send the letter now, we still have to do let's write the letter now and send it.
That's what I'm
And
saying. Yeah.
to give it the maximum amount of time to get there so that it will cross over. I mean, in theory, it might take a lot more time for 8 people to travel overland than for 1 person to travel. And, I mean, we'll offer to repay him however he chooses to travel, as long as it's not something, genuinely insane. But if he wants to rent a horse or a carriage or something, I think that we could probably pool our resources and afford to pay for that, and it would certainly be a lot cheaper than trying to pay for whatever the consequences were of you murdering a blind philanthropist.
Akiri's gonna raise her hand. I can fly.
But you can't fly it's 6 days south of here. You can't fly for 3 days straight.
Why don't
Even
we
if you
just?
can
Why
make
don't we
good-
just
Yeah,
Sorry.
but I'd be faster than the messenger.
Why don't we just get a raven or send the message magically? Because then it could probably get there we could probably get a reply back in a day or 2.
Hey, I can send him a well, no, I can't. Well, yes, I can. I can send a message.
Well, then why don't you do that?
You will need to describe him to me.
Would he be able to respond to the message?
Maybe. Let me look. Put your finger towards coming within. Oh, they have to be within range. Yeah, they have to be within range. So no, I would need to get another spell to do it to somebody that I couldn't see. I do not have that spell.
Is it possible there's some sort of a wizard in town of some kind who might be able to send messages magically? We could ask around.
It's possible. Have we met a wizard in town yet?
Yeah.
That I know of.
Everybody that we know in town is either evil or trapped in an egg in a gym. I mean,
As if you've called his name, there's a loud snort from where you laid down, Alderman Gimme.
Nah! Oh. Where am I? What's going on? Oh. Somebody hit me! In the face!
Out of character, I would like to point out I hit him from behind.
He would still
Okay,
never be-
good to know.
Right?
What's
What
that,
was
honey?
that?
I mean, he would still potentially be aware of having been hit.
Oh yeah, just I didn't hit him in the face.
Oh, I'm so hungover.
We found you passed out in your boat last night.
What?
With the,
Somebody hit me! Somebody hit me
with the
from
smoke
behind.
coming down the way it was. I don't want to know what would have happened if we hadn't stumbled across you like that.
Make a deception roll.
Oh no.
He buys it.
I must have tripped and fallen. It's a wonder nobody came to help me.
Alderman, are you familiar with the phrase, don't shit where you eat? Maybe it's time to lay off your own product and market it instead.
What, like the boats?
No,
No. Using the boats
other
is good
product.
business. I don't know what other product you're talking about.
The one you shared with me.
What? Oh, it's you, young man. Sure.
Oh, no time to be a layabout. I need a little hair of the dog. Kapana, bring me a brandy. Rammel smiles and says, certainly. And he actually brings him a pretty large glass of brandy. Says, there you go. Smiling to himself.
Can I Terry insight check him?
Sure. And in the meantime, Aramal is saying, so I suppose we had better hold elections for our new mayor. Yeah. After the rebuilding, well, the mayor could certainly command the enough authority to ensure that the rebuilding actually happened, and we had new defenses set up so that if we're ever attacked again, we can ensure that it won't be quite so devastating. We won't feel so helpless. Yeah, that's true. I suppose if I were confirmed as mayor, that would make people listen to me. Where's my donkey? Akiri, you sense that Aramal is angling for the job.
Gotcha.
That Gimi is second in command to, because Vale Proudheart, the paladin, was the mayor.
And Kiri's just gonna throw it out here, like, Kront.
Kront, who is cleaning up some of the breakfast dishes, says, "Eh? Quoi?"
Oh, Kront can be the mayor.
There are worse ideas.
Mais no. Aramal Kapana, the elf who owns the tavern, the Blind Bottle, smiles and says, I hardly think Kront here is just finding his feet, but that does remind me. Alderman, hadn't we better... good Alderman Gimi, hadn't we better open up the coffers and get at the town's coin in order to help with rebuilding? And I believe Kront here is owed some money that has probably accrued interest over the last couple of centuries, I would imagine. Hadn't we better take care of that sooner rather than later? Yes, I was just going to do that. I need my donkey. And Alderman Gimi kind of gets up and he's like, looks around the room and he says, the town of Toreen is in your debt, but we have some things we need to take care of. And your presence here is, well, it could compromise the vote. You wouldn't want to be an undue influence, now, would you?
Alderman, you're still a drunkard, so just shush. How about,
I remember you from the other day.
Shush. How about the elf is mayor and Kront gets the bar? Because that's pretty much what people want, right?
What? You're not going to be mayor, elf? What's your name, Sonny?
Is he talking to me?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I meant, the owner, Rommel. The not me. I don't want this place.
Rommel?
This sucks.
Rommel's not the mayor. I'm the alderman. That means I was second in command.
So shush.
I have the most experience. Everyone's going to vote for me.
Shush. Rommel, do you want to be mayor?
You don't shush me. I'm the alderman. Where's my
I,
keys? He's patting himself down. Does he have his keys?
Begin to realize that I'm not winning this, and look to the rest of the party with desperation in my eyes.
He's patting himself down. Does he have his keys?
Ref, honestly, I have no idea what you're trying to do, and he's like, "You're doing a great job," with his hand gestures.
He finally finds the ring of keys and jingles them. See? And I've got my copy of the town charter here somewhere. Ah! He pulls that out of his rear pocket and heads for the door. I'll show you all.
Hey, Alderman. Real quick. I apologize for being rude to you. We want to leave anyways, and you guys can just have a vote for mayor, and we'll see who wins. I don't care. Do you know of anyone in town who could send a message to us, for us to...
In absentia, Mavra speaks up and says, wait a minute. This plan may not work anyway. I just recalled that I have no guarantee that this person will be there until late next month.
Hey, well, if we can send a message to the person, though, it doesn't really matter where they are. Maybe they're closer.
The stables. Check at the stables. And he leaves.
Yeah, that's a charismatic politician right there.
He won't win, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so we need to go to the stables and we need to go to Proudheart House. What are we doing now?
Let's go to the stables. Ka-cha.
Okay. So you guys leave the blind bottle. Go ahead and move yourselves.
I'm looking for the stables. There they are. Okay.
Okay. We lost Alexis.
She said she was having some issues. Was that her? Yeah. She was trying to reconnect her computer. Sounds like crashed on her.
Yeah.
She's reconnecting right now.
All right. At High Horse Stables. You find you find the sign out front has a painting of a white horse, kind of doing dressage, doing this sort of noble horse pose. And there's a female dwarf who's kind of darker skinned, well dressed, tending to the horses. She is, if you'll pardon the term, dwarfed by them. But they seem to respect this short woman very greatly, and you can see her kind of having one by one the horses kind of step out of the stables and like walk around. There's like a little track around the stable. And some of the area, there's one end of the stables that's smoking, still from the previous day, the previous attack. and the horses are nervous, but they listen to her. And she's rather unusually dressed. She's actually wearing a suit, a brown shirt, and a tie. Her hair kind of is a very different, doesn't really match the suit, if you will. It's matted, messy, and enormous. A beehive on her head. But it kind of sticks out from this black riding helmet that she's wearing. Almost as if it's trying to clamp it down unsuccessfully. As you guys walk up, she kind of signals to this horse, and very well trained, it turns around and walks into its slot in the stables. As she slides the door shut, she looks at you guys and nods.
Hello, good to meet you. We were told that you might be able to send a message to someone for us, maybe without having to write it down.
She nods, thoughtfully, raises an eyebrow. Depends on where you want to send it.
So would you need to know exactly where this person was, or would you need to know a description of the person?
Each time you guys kind of like walk toward her, she like steps back to kind of like not be in the middle of this circle of 8 people. She says, send horses to Arkney, White Witch. From there, courier can take it further.
Oh, okay.
Major settlements, towns.
Okay. Well then. So it looks like we're gonna need to know where we're sending it. Okay. Alright. Thank you very much. We'll get out of your hair. If we decide to send a message, we know exactly where to go. Thank you so much. What was your name again?
Ovina Dankel.
Thank you very much, Miss Dangle. You have a great day.
Okay.
Before
You're
we
welcome.
leave, are there magical ways of doing that? Like faster than horses? Horses are pretty slow, let's be honest.
Yes.
Because we're not going north to Arkney. We want to send something about 6 days south. 6 days south of here to the town of 1,000 chapels. City of 1,000 chapels.
Yeah.
Actually, we don't know for sure that's where he is right now.
Right, we don't really know where he is right now.
That'd be our best bet, though.
Thanks for saving the town.
Oh, of course.
It's a nice town.
It's all right.
Uh-huh.
That's a beautiful
stares at-
horse, though. Let me see.
Uh-huh.
Can I make some kind of a knowledge check? Like a nature check to see if I know anything about this type of horse?
Sure. Nope.
Well, it's a...
That there's a horse.
What would you call that? Brown?
Palomino.
Right, yeah. Yes. No. Wow. That's so pretty.
Yep.
What are
Okay,
you
bye.
Bye.
I'm gonna walk around and turn around and just leave.
Equitas has no patience with this person.
Nope.
Akira's gonna follow him and see ya.
Okay. She nods as you leave.
I don't leave.
Okay. She looks at you somewhat nervously.
Could we talk more about that magical option?
Okay.
Can you do it?
Send messages magically?
Yeah.
I have a pair of sending stones. But you would have to have someone at the other end. There's also the diplomat's satchel, but I don't have one. There's also sending spells, but I can't cast those.
Can I roll to see if I know what sending stones are or how they work?
You don't have to roll. I mean, you think you get the basic idea. You can whisper a message into one stone and someone holding the other stone can hear it.
Oh, okay. Do you have sending stones, like, in the city that we're trying to get to? Or, like, do you just have 2 here?
I have 2.
Is one of them there?
No.
Do you know somebody who can cast the spells?
Yes.
Are they in Taurine?
No. Arkney.
Are they in Arkney? So if we gave you a letter for a courier to run to Arkney and give to that person, they could get a message to somebody in the City of 1,000 Chapels.
Probably. Would you like to rent horses to go to Arkney?
Yeah, we might do that. Not at this moment. We are going to Arkney, so we probably will need to do that. But at the moment, we're just trying to get this letter. Do you have couriers who will go, or do we have to go?
Actually, we might want to know how much it costs to rent a horse.
Can send a courier.
How much does that cost? Or how much would this whole transaction cost? Like, the letter, to the courier, to the Arkney, to sending the message to 1,000 Chapels.
What's the City of 1,000 Chapels?
Belgrove.
He means 1,000 steeples.
Oh. Belgrove.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could address it to Belgrove. You'd want to go through White Witch. Not Arkney.
Cool. How much would that cost?
She seems to be doing a little mental math. That's a ways. But it would be with the general mail.
Is that a question?
Mm-hmm.
What's the fastest option?
Fastest option is a special courier.
How much does that cost?
She seems to be doing some mental math. 13 silver to White Witch. Then another 7 to the temple. It's 20. Then another... probably 30 pieces of silver.
3 gold isn't... Sorry, 3 gold, that's not bad.
That's a pretty fair price. I like that. Cool. Well, we're gonna have to draft the letter and discuss, but I think there's a pretty good chance we'll have a deal here. So we'll be back to see you again. Yeah. Sorry for intruding, because it seems like you got a lot going on here.
You're welcome.
I feel like this is the kind of person who, if you ask them, do you know what time it is, they would say yes.
Alright. Are you guys done talking to Ovina?
I think so.
I walk out.
I mean, I think she's done talking to us regardless.
I think she was done from the start.
Oh, she's just a very direct person.
Where to now, folks?
Let's head to
Proud
Proud
Hard
House.
House.
Yeah,
Letter.
are we going to get these coffers sprung open?
Are we gonna do
I don't
the
know. I'm looking for information.
Okay. Is that where you guys go?
I think that was the plan, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Gimi has found his donkey and is riding it around in front of Proud Heart House again. He is yelling at people. Vani! Yeah, Vani, I need you to move those logs over there. We're going to need to repair the stables. Oh, look, it's these people again. I thought you were leaving town.
We're on our way, Alderman Gamey. What seems to be the problem?
No problem. Just need to get into the coffers here. What are you doing here?
We're making sure the distribution of wealth is fair.
Distribution of wealth. I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, Ek. He speaks to a female half-orc who is in front of the building, clearing some debris from the door. How's that coming along? Can we get to the door yet? She says, just a minute, Alderman. Right.
I can get that door open if you want.
I don't fancy armed folks standing about. Isabella, Ek, Lausian, Vani, Tim. You're all witnesses here. The small crowd of people are kind of looking on, confused, like trying to figure out what's going on and why he's shouting at you guys.
What do you think they're going to
Here
witness?
make sure we're here to get our friend's money that's owed him out of the coffers. He was turned into stone. All of his assets were seized by the state. Now he needs it back in order to be able to pay off his debt in his tavern. That's all we're here for.
Well, fine then. Why didn't you say so?
That is what I said.
What? He steps forward and unlocks the front door. Within, you find a somewhat spare, if large, house. not a lot of furniture that looks well used. There are a couple of things that look older and like no one has sat in them for a long time. Paintings line the walls. They bear a family resemblance, portraits. And a couple of paintings that are no doubt of Toreen before it was built up, showing the lake in the middle. And the mill that is somewhat centrally located. The whole place smells slightly of spices, and although everything is neatly packed away, you find that there is a stocked kitchen and larder nearby. There is a second floor in the T part of the building that kind of rises above, and it's sort of semi-fortified. The walls are thick, and the windows are designed in such a way that someone up there could have good vantage against anyone outside, if need be.
Is that a coffer? I'm not sure what a coffer is.
The alderman kind of is like looking around, and he seems a little creeped out. He says, right, there should be a basement or something. He fumbles with the keys, finds a door, unlocks it, and to reveal some stairs down into a stone basement below Proudheart House. Which, again, the key opens to reveal a kind of a spare room with a safe. Or a chest. A reinforced chest. He looks in bewilderment at it. Oh, crap. I don't think I have that key. You notice it has the seal, the Proudheart family crest on the chest.
This might be her personal chest.
No, this is the place. It's just that she had the key.
This has got her family seal on it. If it were the coffers
Well,
of the
yes,
town,
because-
wouldn't it have the town seal on it?
Well, we just don't have one.
Uh-huh.
The Proudhearts founded the town, supposedly. So they are one and the same.
Is there any way we can pick the lock?
Pick the lock? What are you, some kind of criminal?
No, we're just trying to get into it because, I mean, Vale isn't here, and we have no way of getting the key. And I suppose we
Right.
could search around the house and see if it's hidden somewhere.
No, she probably carried it with her. She always
You guys
did.
you guys got a locksmith in town? That's like the legal version of lockpicking.
I wonder if the jeweler would be able to do anything.
The other people are kind of filtering in, looking around, and one of them pipes up and says, maybe the blacksmith. What's
That's a
that,
good
Tim?
idea.
At the Smelted Siren? Beatrice Myerscough. She could probably break it open, if you guys can't.
Bref, what do you think?
I'm good at breaking things.
Well, have at it then, young man, says Gimi.
Or, I bet,
Nope, too late.
okay.
Alright, that's going to be a strength check. You strain at it, and there's some noises, but it doesn't even budge. It's actually quite heavy.
Oh, Coffers are stronger than most chests I've met.
It is quite a large chest, but Gimi is kind of looking around and he's like, I don't know why there's
Mavra-
only the one chest.
Mavra, you're pretty strong, aren't you?
I could try.
Mavra comes up and smacks it with her hammer. Oh!
Not bad.
There's a loud snapping sound as the lock breaks.
Okay,
Well
future
done.
reference.
Always trust a dwarf to break open a chest. That's what I always say. Well, open it.
I'll open it.
All right. Within, you find three neat piles of things. Or rather, so one on the left of the chest are a pile of papers, and Gimi says, "Ah, yes, the original town charter." Papers and scrolls, sealed. In the middle are several bulging leather bags. Alderman Gimi reaches in and grabs one of them and lifts it. Ugh! Clank. And looks over. Not bad. And on the right-hand side of the chest, Mavra, you open it up, so roll a D100 for me. Okay. Well, inside this chest, on the right-hand side, is a wooden box. Elegantly carved and set with kind of small gems that delineate this shifting pattern. This small wooden box has a small hole toward the top of it. It actually looks similar to the small wooden box of the Deck of Illusions carried by Cordy. And on top of it, there is a paper. And on the paper is written property of Zendrieg, champion of the Red. I'll write that out for you. That looks weird, says Gimi. I'm not going to touch that. He picks up multiple bags of gold coins. Ugh!
Ugh. Oh, clank. Oh. Ugh. This is gonna be a lot to carry to the boathouse. I wouldn't mind an escort.
Why are we carrying it to the boathouse?
Well, we've got to get it out of here. So we can...
But why?
So we can spend it?
I mean...
Maybe we should wait till there's a newly elected mayor before anyone spends it. This much cash shouldn't be in the hands of any one person.
Who are you to decide?
I'm Breath. Thank you for asking.
He's the guy with the big hammer.
He looks around the room. He says, "What do you folks think?" They kind of look alarmed. Tim? Eka? Do you want some of the town's coffers to help rebuild your homes and businesses? Most of them nod.
Could I cast,
Do you want someone with experience in administration to help to direct the rebuilding of the town? Yes? Sounds good. Alright, let's go.
Could I cast, Minor Illusion or Prestidigitation, I don't know which one is the right one, to fill the room with the immense smell of alcohol from Alderman?
You hardly need to cast a spell for that to happen. I think it's minor illusion, but yeah, the reek of alcohol is filling the room, making
Maybe
everyone
some,
kind of blink.
Kind of vomit in there too, like really unpleasant.
We'd better clear the room. Something smells terrible, he says.
Alderman,
It's you.
It's you, man.
Akiri's gonna come up behind him, pat him on the arm, and
Hey!
say, "Come on, get out of here," and cast Lesser Restoration.
Okay. You cast Lesser Restoration. The magic fills him. And he says, stop that! Listen, you folks seem to think that you're in charge here, but you're not. I am.
But you're not.
Are you, though? You're not the mayor.
No, you're not.
So it's banditry then, is it?
No.
Someone who can read these fancy scribbles. What does the charter say about a chain of command in absence of a mayor?
I will try to yank the town charter from him. He has it, doesn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get it.
Hey! But he's pretty full up with bags of coins, so he's not gonna be able to fight you off.
Okay. I'd like to read
you
it.
glance it over. The mayor's in charge, and the alderman is essentially the second in command.
I'd like to nudge Equitus and say, like, hey, you gave that great speech yesterday, really roused people. Why don't you do another one of those and convince the town people that he's, like, not the dude?
It's kind of like the boss and the manager of the town.
Okay. So, let me. How many people are there around here?
4. Besides you guys. So
Besides-
you are filling this house.
Right. Do you think that and I'm going to turn to the 4 townspeople and I say, do you think that Alderman Gimme here is qualified to run the town and spend your money on the town in a wise fashion? Do you think he's shown himself responsible and a good leader? If you 4 tell me that you think that he deserves the responsibility, then we'll let him go with the money.
And the half-orc woman says, well, what's it say on the paper?
What the paper says doesn't matter.
Gimi is turning a bright shade of red. So that's how it is. I guess I'm going to go find the town guard then. And he goes for the door, carrying 2 hefty bags of gold.
Hey, wait up there. I'd like to cast. I think this one will be prestidigitation on the charter to say not what it currently says.
Prestidigitation can't really do that.
No. Okay.
It can't really change text. It does minor tricks.
All right. Never mind.
It's like a rabbit out of the hat kind of spell.
Got it.
I say, hold on. I think we're kind of getting off on the wrong foot with this guy. I mean, he does have a legal right to be doing what he's doing. It's not really like, if these people want him in charge, if they want to follow the charter, we can't. Oh, excuse me. We can't really force them to change that decision.
Okay,
the one
I mean,
who
if you
keeps calling
think that...
Tim says, I mean, we're gonna have an election, so the alderman's in charge. Until then,
We came here for something specific. If we get that, and if we're sure that fair and open elections are going to be held, if the alderman doesn't use the money to pay for repairs to the village, I feel like things are not going to go very well for him. I'm confident that his sense of self-preservation will kick in at a certain point, even if his ethics don't.
Okay.
He wipes his red face.
You're right. All right. Let him go. But do this town right, Alderman Gimi.
Would you have an objection to appointing a second in command temporarily for yourself? Just for some accountability?
Right.
I mean, this is a lot of money to be in one person's hand.
Okay. Everybody out. We are going to keep most of the money here. I'm not touching that deck of cards, so if you guys want to take that, that's fine. And we're all getting out of here.
Wait, can I do a perception check to see if there's anything note around the house? I kind of wanted to
you
do that
can.
for all the...
So are you going to take the deck of cards or not? He kind of sweats when he looks at it.
Breath takes it. Breath takes it all. Breath takes the card.
Okay, fine.
You look around the house with perception. Probably should be an investigation check, actually.
Do I need to reroll?
Yes, please. Okay. So with perception, you notice that there's a family resemblance between the portraits in the main hall of the house. With investigation, as you check around, you find that one of the paintings is kind of rotates out from the wall when you tug on it, revealing a secret compartment behind it.
Is it locked or is it open?
Well, it's open now.
Well, is what's behind What's in the compartment?
Roll the D100. Are you being sneaky, or are you being obvious when you're walking around and looking at stuff?
Being sneaky.
You're being sneaky? Roll a stealth check as well, please. Thanks, Kenny. That's pretty stealthy. With all of this conversation going on and the shouted arguments and Alderman Gamey kind of getting everyone out of the basement, no one's really paying you much mind. In the secret compartment is a bottle of strangely colored liquid. And it has a label with some very small writing on it. Probably too much to read, to piece together at the moment.
Sweet. The dice are on my side tonight.
Go ahead and drink it.
No. I'm just gonna pocket it.
It's kind of a chunky, crimson yellow color.
That sounds gross.
Blood gravy.
So did Kront tell us, or is there a record in the coffers of how much he is owed?
Yes, indeed. That may be in the pile of papers that all the aldermen collected. And if we're just gonna speed this along, you find that there is, in fact, a very old record still remaining there that shows that Kront is, in fact, owed 100 pieces of gold. Gimi is shouting in the midst of Proudheart House that he does not want to pay that, as the coffers only contain a little over 500 pieces of gold in total.
Well, Gamey, guess what? You're gonna have to pay what's owed.
One thing I learned on the high seas is that sometimes the captain's role is not what the captain wants, but what the captain has to do.
Make a charisma check, Equitus.
Okie doke, just straight charisma.
One of us, both
And
of us, or are we assisting?
you're going to give him advantage, Bref.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Oh yeah!
A natural
Damn, I'm
20
charming.
from Equitus. All right.
Flutters his
That's
eyelashes.
amazing. Theme song.
Forgot all about that.
The people start gathering as Aquitus speaks on how Gimi is just going to have to, if he wants everyone to follow the rules, he's going to have to follow the rules. And he's going to have to pay that money over. And as everyone seems to nod and agree, he, amidst much protestation, counts out 100 pieces of gold and hands that over as the morning turns into the noonday hour, to Kron Threefinger, who promptly turns around and hands it to Ramal Kapana, who is all smiles.
Well, now that that's taken care of, I think we're ready to leave town.
Good
let's hit it,
riddance,
quit it.
says Gimi.
Gamey.
Grant says, Grant, sorry to see you go.
Don't worry, Kron. I'm sure we will be back.
I go to give him a hug.
He seems very surprised to be hugged by the Dragonborn, but kind of returns it, patting you on the back. Wait, Grant will wrap up some lunch.
We still need to write that letter and talk to the person at the stables, so we're not leaving in the next, 10 minutes.
Good, that will give Grant time to make a better lunch.
That's
He
very
starts-
nice of you, Kron.
He starts wrapping up some bread and cheese, and Aramal is too busy biting each of the 100 gold coins and planning his campaign for mayor to object.
Yeah, well. Alright, so let's go to the stables and let's think of a message on the way there.
Maybe we should take a little bit of time. I mean, if he refuses, then, you might die. So maybe we should, spend a little bit of time right.
Or Pitsy will mind.
Mm-hmm. Somebody's life is definitely on the line. Okay, so, dear...
Sir.
Grotum Goldair. I never thought it would happen to me. But I
Long
am a
time
gay.
listener, first time being curster.
So, dear Grotum, should I write it? Should it come from me? Should it come from who knows this person?
Bella kind of clears her throat and just sort of stands off to the side looking ostentatiously modest.
You know this person, don't you, Bella?
No, but I mean, I've published approximately 15 books. So if you want an editor or something, I might be able to contribute something.
Yeah. Yes, that would be very welcome. Yes.
It's not Grotum, it's who Grotum.
Wait, what?
Gold hair.
Who Grotum?
I think that's how you say it.
I
Okay.
did put it into chat. At some point.
Alright, well, Mr. Goldair.
It's a classic dwarven name.
So then, Bella, what would you say?
Well, I would open up with a compliment. And kind of briefly explaining the situation. Saying your fame has spread as far as Turin and beyond. And when it came to my attention that I was suffering from an unusual curse, you were the only person who came to mind who might possibly be able to help me with that. Considering your remarkable work on what's a thing that he did that's super famous.
That I don't know. Who Grotum Goldair?
I was the one who rolled to know who he was. Do I happen to know anything more about him?
It was he that cured the Hell Plague.
Oh, well, if he can cure the Hell Plague, he can cure a gash.
I think we should specify that this is a particularly unusual gish, never before seen by, any of the likes of us or anyone we've ever spoken to about this, so that he doesn't just pass this off and tell us to refer us to somebody lesser who can handle an average gish.
Well, that's what I would say is, it bears all the symptoms of a gesh, and yet the way in which it was acquired is entirely unheard of in the history of magic. You can tell him that we are, as of his receipt of this letter, currently studying up on it at the libraries at Arkney, and through our studies have only become more and more convinced that he is the only person who can help us. And therefore, if he would be willing to make the journey to Arkney to see us, we would be happy not only to recompense him for any expenses incurred in his travel, and of course to give him the absolute right to write the medical history of the curing of this curse, but also to pay him for his services. And, maybe we'll be a little bit more vague about how exactly we're going to do that.
We could threaten him.
Or we could not do that, because he is far away and has no reason to be afraid of us right now.
So
Would you
threaten
guys,
him later.
Would you guys like to discuss this later in Discord, exactly on the wording, and then you could actually write it up and just put it in the Discord?
I suppose we could.
Yeah, we can do that.
Alright, so after some discussion, you guys pull out paper, quill, and ink, and write this letter to Hugrotum Goldhair. You pay 30 pieces of silver to Ovina of High Horse Stables, and she arranges for a special courier to take the letter through White Witch, across the glass bridge, all the way, possibly changing hands a few times, to Belgrove, where it will hopefully find the famous dwarf cleric. Once you guys have written that letter and sent it off, what would you like to do?
While they're all doing that, I'm going to pull out the deck of cards and look at them.
Oh no.
Welcome Classy X Red. You're going to pull out the cards and look at them. Okay. You find that this box is designed in such a way... Now, remember, there's the note on it, right? There's the paper that's kind of stuck on with a bit of something. A bit of tree gum to it. And underneath the paper, you can feel the deck of cards moving around slightly inside the box. Underneath the paper, there's a hole where you could draw out one card at a time, just like the box that Cordy has. Where are you when you're examining this box?
I imagine they're in there writing the letter, and would they be writing it like at the stables? So I'd be like standing.
Sure.
Let me see. Probably I'd be like, oh, look at these nice trees over here, and I'm just looking at the trees behind the shrooms and wing, and I just pull out one of the cards.
Okay, so you're looking over the low wall, the little garden by Shrooms and Wing, across from the stables. And the note is kind of pasted over the opening in such a way that you would, it blocks the opening.
Peel it away.
All right. Yeah, so it's this very fancy box, designed in such a way that you can only draw one card out at a time.
Is he doing this while we're walking or while we're all like arguing over
While
the
you're
wording?
arguing over the letter.
Oh my god.
Akiri's just watching
Yeah.
him pull it out, just like, ooh, cool.
So you have the note that
Yeah, I'm
says
outside.
property of Zendrig, champion of the red. What are you doing with the note?
I'll stick it in my pocket.
Okay. What are you doing next?
I draw a card.
All right.
That looks fine.
You should be able to click and drag a card from the deck onto the table.
Mm,
Ooh, so it's a tarot deck.
I think this is.
I need to
not
go get a
good
different
deck.
book.
Well, it's accurate. Bref pulled the Fool card.
Yeah, I mean, that couldn't have been better.
Well, we're gonna have 2 people on this side tonight.
Akiri's ready. Also, this music is very, very intriguing.
Actually, I should ask, is anyone able to see you doing this? Are you just doing this right, just right out in the open? Or are you turning
I'm not
away?
trying to hide it, no.
Okay.
I think Akiri's looking over his shoulder, just like, oh, what you doing?
Okay, so Akiri's right there.
She's also backup in case anything goes terribly, horribly wrong.
I'm outside of the stables, kind of keeping both.
You're saying it's a very accurate tarot deck because Bref pulled the Fool card.
Bref. As you draw the card, you feel something shifting. It's hard to say or describe exactly what, especially for Bref. But it's as though part of Bref's already limited mind is disappearing. Memories vanishing, wiping clean. The past few days, perhaps. The journey back to Toreen. The battles with basilisks and other things down in the sandy dungeon. All wiping clean. In fact, you're not quite sure as you stare at this weird card in your hand, and it begins to curl into ash between your fingers. You're not sure if you ever left Toreen to go with that paladin to the Dragon's Lair. Breath. Although you have lost your memories, I'm going to let me rephrase that. You have also forgotten, as the card turns to ashes, that you drew a card. Draw another card.
Oh, fuck a duck.
Akira's gonna look at him and go, Breath, you okay?
Somebody needs to do something. Oh, but we don't really know what. I mean, so far, it just looks like he's... Crap.
3 of us are distracted discussing a letter anyways. Like, we're not really paying attention.
Akira's gonna go, hey, Breath, what did it do?
So the new card is this depiction.
Here comes the sun.
Of the sun.
He's blind now.
As this card turns to ash in your hand, instead of losing memories, oh my god.
Yeah, this is bad.
They all come rushing back, memory after memory, pummeling your brain like an explosion. You feel like your brain is going to leak out of your ears as the fight with the basilisks, seeing Orinar, the long travails in the dungeon, and then other memories that are not quite your own. That you did them, but maybe but you don't really recall them. Battles against dragons and demons and other creepy, crawly things that you smashed with your hammer mightily. The memories, they're filling your brain. It's painful. And yet also, it's this rush. And Akira, you see Breath kind of like wince. At first his eyes went dull. And then they brightened again. And now they're slightly glowing.
Breath, you okay, bud?
Breath,
I feel great!
you not only feel amazing, all these memories that have appeared in your brain, every detail of every fight, you can remember the number of teeth in the mouth that spit you out in the dungeon. 26, by the way. You remember the way the blood flowed over the scales. You remember every move that you saw Vale and Lou take down the dragon with. Breath, I need you to lose a level, gain a level, and roll a d100. That was amazing. Meanwhile, as all that is happening, Bref, you aren't even quite aware of this. But everyone else, you notice that his eyes suddenly start glowing. And as the card in his hand turns to ash. A weird and powerful wind kicks up, swirling around Bref, causing the gravel and dust to kind of form this whirlwind around him. Bref, the card... Yes? Sorry, you cut out.
Back way up.
You backed up. So you get away from him as the wind is swirling around him. You look down, and where the card was, having turned to ash, there's a pair of boots.
Sweet, free boots!
Finely embroidered, with running rabbits and birds flying through an endless sky. They are beautiful treated leather with a blue cloth inside them.
I take off my boots and put on these new boots.
If we're all watching at this point,
it would be pretty hard to notice this.
Oh, I thought that we'd all turn to watch.
Pretty hard to miss this. Sorry, I said.
Oh, okay. I yell out like, "Bref, don't put them on! Stop!
Too late!
Don't know what they are."
I can't believe that just happened.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was hilarious.
Of all the cards to draw.
Can I go take the cards from him and then bring out a pull of identify, please?
Oh, you want one too? Here you go. I'm gladly hand the deck over.
Give me a card.
No, I do not hand a card over. I hand the deck over.
Okay.
Are you straight up just casting identify?
Just using the scroll of identify to.
Oh, a
figure out
scroll.
what. Yeah.
You pull out a scroll. The words glimmer and then disappear from the page as the power is expended. You are in awe. This is a deck of many things. It controls the fates itself are imbued into these cards. The fates themselves are imbued into these cards. And they contain both great power and incredible danger.
Didn't Critical Role go over why this was a bad idea at one point? Why you don't give the deck of many things to the barbarian? Pretty sure they did.
And yet it's always the barbarian who picks it up.
I know. Every time.
Yeah, we need to put that up and not ever take it out again. Forget it exists.
I don't know. We could probably sell it.
I don't like the idea of somebody else having it.
The note has been removed from the deck. By Bref, it's in his pocket. You perhaps can understand why Alderman Gimi was so frightened and wanted you to take this away. Or perhaps you can't. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess he's not there, or he would certainly comment. People are kind of looking at Bref with fear.
How do the boots fit?
Perfectly. You feel a certain spring in your step.
Alright, let's get going. Oh wait, we need lunch. Is Crump back with lunch yet?
Well, we need to send the message.
I'm assuming the message is sent by now.
Oh, okay. Did we do that?
Yes. We'll say you have
Okay.
completed the message by now. The
Okey
wind
doke.
is still swirling around Bref, although the glow in his eyes is fading.
Hey, maybe we should get him to take those boots off.
Not gonna happen. They're super comfy.
What if I got you even more comfy boots?
Unlikely.
Is the wind strong enough to like lift?
It's not strong enough to lift Akiri up.
It's not. Okay.
Bref's probably going to have to spend a little time with these boots to fully understand them.
Well, I guess let's go. Does
Yeah, I'm
anybody not
pretty
want to
sure
go?
Every time you use a scroll, the scroll disappears. Like the magic is woven into the paper itself, and as you read the scroll to use it, the magic tears the scroll to pieces.
Pretty much.
Expended.
The magic has emanated from the scroll and it fell apart. So you still have, I think, 2 scrolls of Identify left? Oh, okay.
I took 3, I believe, and so I only have 1.
Gotcha.
Alright, let's get going.
Hey, Bref, wasn't there a note on the deck? Do you still have that?
Yeah, it's right here. And I pull it out of my pocket.
I take it, and pocket it.
Alright, and then you guys are setting off?
Yep, I think so. Well, I assume we're grabbing lunch from Kront first.
Kront hands you guys a bundle with lots of bread and cheese, individually wrapped bundles of bread and cheese.
Could I actually roll to see if I recognize the name on the note?
Make a
Zendri,
history
Champion
check.
of the Red.
As you guys leave town, make a history check.
You cut out for me there, sorry, what?
As you guys leave town, I assume, carrying the bundle from Kront, he waves his 3-fingered hand as you guys walk away. You're looking at the note and thinking if you've ever heard the name Zendrig the Red before.
Is that history?
Yes.
22.
Okay. Sorry, Champion of the Red. You haven't heard too much about him. Even with a 22. But you seem to recall that he was some kind of paladin.
I share that information.
And in conversation with other people, you also seem to recall that he was a slayer of dragons.
Oh.
Well, that's at least something, some kind of synchronicity.
Somebody want to fill me in?
Well, Vale Proudheart, when we met her, we were on our way to slay a dragon. She helped.
Sorry.
And that's where she got, I don't know, banished to the Shadow Realm or whatever.
We're not entirely certain. Well,
She's in a
Maybe-
Pokeball.
Yep, out of character, she's in a Pokeball.
yeah. But in character, maybe we should have this conversation someplace private where random passersby can't hear us.
Alright. I would be curious to know, because she is who I originally set out to find.
I don't have any objection to telling you. I just, it's not necessarily something that I want any old person to be able to overhear.
Cool. You want to tell me in Discord at some point?
Oh, yeah, well, I'll tell you in character. I just,
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
No.
Sure.
I just don't, she's the mayor of this city, so if we're just, walking around through the town, in the street, where somebody could walk past us and hear me say exactly what's going on with her, it could cause some people to freak out. And they've been through a lot.
Fair enough.
So, you wave goodbye to Kront, and Aramal Kapana, and Alderman Gimi, and all the other folks you've met here in Taurine. You've seen and done a lot here. And as you walk away from the smoke-filled city, pulling your cloaks about yourselves as the snowy weather bites home with a chill, you see Taurine fading a little bit as a kind of a smudge, smoky smudge on the horizon. The last you can see of it is the tall mast and sails of Stray's traveling menagerie sticking up from the middle of town.
Wait, guys, wasn't Stray gonna go to Arkney at some point?
I think she said she may be headed there.
Why didn't we just ask her for a ride?
She need more experience.
I mean, that's the answer.
Alright, that's fair.
And it's just not natural for a boat to not be traveling by water.
What? I think flying's pretty natural.
Oh, I'm gonna get on that boat before all is said and done.
Dude, same.
You also don't know how much longer it will be until she goes to Arkney. All right. So, here we are on our map of the Wildlands. What direction are you guys heading, and what pace?
I'm assuming northeast and the probably normal.
Could you ping Arkney for me?
Somebody did. At least what they think it is.
I think we think it's 1412.
Are we in 1313?
Yep.
So what direction are you
head
heading?
through the forest.
Let's go north, then northeast.
Oh, I've said maybe we should go through the forest like northeast
Oh, okay.
because I can get us food there.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
we have, but I can guarantee. I mean, we're a large party. I can guarantee us food there.
Okay, that'll work. So northeast to 1413.
All right. So you guys are heading directly northeast out of Tourine. And what pace are you setting? Slow, normal, or fast? Slow will let you be
Normal.
stealthy. Fast, of course, will let you consume less resources on the way and get you there sooner. And normal has no particular advantages or disadvantages.
How many days did we get the sense that the courier service would take to get the message to Goldhair?
The sense, or did you ask?
I didn't ask.
I don't think so.
And again, Mavra told everyone that Goldhair, she doesn't know for sure when Goldhair will be there, and the earliest she knows, has a good feeling, was, when was it?
29 VXC?
So it could be sitting there for most of a month before he gets
Right.
it.
Right. Yeah, well, that's not something we can bank on. But that's okay.
All right. So, you leave Tourine by the southeast path. The northeast path. This is a less well-traveled road than the north one, which runs through the hills and along the lake, the edge of the large lake to the north. This path through the mountains and forest meanders a bit, and you lose it occasionally in the snow. You begin to leave the farms and outlying buildings of Tourine behind and look up at the peaks, the tree and snow-covered peaks, looking like fluffy clouds rising up from the very earth. Now, the way my travel rules work. Anyone can contribute with any skill that they have proficiency in. And I will listen to any argument that you may have for. You can try and convince me. You can try to convince me that the skill you want to use is somehow beneficial. So you might use survival to. You might use your survival skills to keep to the track and follow the best route through the forested mountains. You might make a perception roll to look ahead and behind for danger. You might use your nature skill to help you survive and help you thrive in tune with these snowy winter-bound conditions. And to know when there's more snow on the way. So these are all possibilities, and you can try to convince me why your skill is useful in helping you guys travel safely. And your aim is to get 3 successes before you get 3 failures. You just don't know exactly how difficult it is. So, who wants to jump in and help?
Carrie's gonna scout ahead.
Okay. She's gonna scout ahead.
So I'm assuming perception.
You are going to pick a skill, and then you're going to explain to me how you use it to help the party.
Okay, so Carrie is gonna do her usual thing where she flies into the air and then scouts ahead like looking for anything that might be dangerous or might impede their travel in some way, and then come back and warn everybody about it, and just stay up in the air and keep an eye on things.
Okay. She's just gonna make periodic, like, short flights.
Mm-hmm. She's gonna be mostly up in the air, but like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I could see an argument for why it would be a constitution check to be, like, you know, flying back and forth constantly. But perception, I think, in this case makes sense.
Well, it's a 9, so she probably doesn't see much of anything.
To attune to items or to, you know, handle them and get a sense of what they do, you would have to do that during a rest. So you could stop for lunch, for example. Although you're now past lunch a bit.
How deep is the snow at this point?
As you get up higher in the mountains, it deepens. In Taurine, it was only, like half an inch at any point. But as you climb higher in these forested mountains, they're not really tall mountains, but it's enough to where the snow has built up into some fairly deep banks here and there.
So I'm going to pull a Gandalf and just be at the front of the group, just kind of shoving the snow out of the way, using my, I suppose, athletic skill, just to make an easier walking path for everyone behind.
That's fine, but let me just finish with M here real quick.
Oh,
Ak-Iri, you make these periodic flights. The visibility is not great. It's a riot of snow and trees, and here in the mountains, it's difficult to see anything anyway, and it's cold up there. You much prefer, although you love flying, it's much warmer on your feathers down at with the rest of the party.
She comes back and lands, and everyone is just like, guys, everything's white. I can't see anything. This is terrible.
So that is one failure with her 9. Okay, so Bref, you are using your athletics to get out in front and just clear this snowy path. Unfortunately,
Or am I?
you quickly get tired.
Do you think, can I help him with burning hands?
Well, how many castings of that do you have?
Well, 2 before a short rest.
You could burn your friend.
Yeah, no. Not today. I would like to use intimidation so that if we do happen upon any wild creatures, maybe I could use intimidation along with maybe some thaumaturgy, like if we run upon a bear or something. I could kind of act scary at it to try and get it to leave without us, having to stop and fight it or it messing with us.
I don't know. That doesn't really make sense to me. It's like, can we avoid an encounter by me just looking so scary? Maybe if it's a bear.
Well, I mean, I was just trying to find a way to use what I got.
I mean, there are certain cases where intimidation can help. This doesn't seem like one of them.
Okay. All right.
It's not like...
We charisma people are not really in these situations.
There aren't a whole lot of other travelers on the road. There's not much of a road. Like I said, the other road is the more traveled one. You are quickly finding. And the few hunters and traveling peddlers you meet, do you really want to intimidate them?
No, not unless I feel like they need.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, no, it's not. It's just not going to help.
No, that's fair. Case. That's fair. That's fair. How about if I okay? How about if I do this? Can I use my can I use guidance, which is a cantrip, to help me out, and then use my survival skill to make sure that everybody is warm? You said it's getting cold up here in the mountains. The snow is getting high, so maybe I can use my survival to kind of make sure that fires are stoked, and that everybody stays warm as we're traveling. And
you can show everybody the proper way to tuck their pants over their boots.
There you go.
So they don't get snow in their feet.
There you go. And if I cast guidance, that's going to give me an extra D4 to an ability check, which, if I'm not mistaken, that's what this is, right?
Guidance has a limited, concentration up to a minute. This is a survival check that's taking place over a period of time, so it's not really. Okay. You can't really use guidance.
Okay. All right. Well, then here's.
This is a day's travel.
Well, there's our third failure.
About to get exciting.
Wow. I couldn't have, scripted this better if I tried. As the roller of the third failure, and I promise we're about to wrap up here, guys. Would you just roll a D100 for me real quick?
No. Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
97.
Thank you.
I like that we're rolling high for everything except these checks.
In your travels, you have come upon in this mountain ravine with towering slopes full of snow on either side. And in this meandering track, you're not quite sure you're still on a track, as there are trees springing up in it, but at least it's a way through. And you see something odd up ahead. In this sort of late afternoon, almost dusk light, there's a spot where the snow hasn't touched. A kind of an altar, perhaps, where it's just greenery and like high summer. And it's almost like the snow has simply never fallen on that area, and everything is green in this one specific spot right in the middle of this snowbound pass.
What do you think, Akiri? Would that be like an altar to Mariko?
I'm gonna roll for that because I have no idea.
Well, we can do that next time, as you guys survey the area and notice a campfire burning to your north, off to one side of the ravine. And you sense, well, it's obvious that you're not completely alone out here as dusk falls over the snowy landscape. And that's where we're going to leave it. Until next time, folks, thank you so much for playing.
Woo!
Another...
Breath didn't die.
Indeed.
And neither did Aquitas.
Yeah. Couple of...
So much almost dying in this section.
Thank you, Jeremy, Emily, Paul, Alexis, Haley, Danielle, Kirsten, and Leo. You guys are awesome players. Thank you to Grimslag, Kenny, Classy X Red. Hey, Classy. If you enjoyed this stream, throw me a follow, and then you'll get notified next time we are live. Let's see. The Memento screen name popped in, and a couple of other folks. Thank you, everyone and anyone who watched this or will watch this. This was I had a lot of fun, you guys. I hope you had fun too.
This was a blast. Another good one.
Oh man,
A lot of fun.
already can't wait until next week.
Yeah.
All right, see you folks. See you folks later. Thanks a lot. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.